Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Garden of Sports Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jake Gardner, alongside my brother, Zach.
What's up, everybody?
And we don't have a guest this week. We're just going to run through, and instead of a 3x3x3, we're going to do a 4x4 for you guys on our top pickups. And then we're going to go over our surprises of the week and key fantasy injuries. So let's jump into it.
There it was. Glory hole.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
No intro, just the glory hole.
Glory hole of football.
Good.
So starting her off here, I got James Cook. He's only 25.3% rostered. He's the running back for Buffalo. He's got 14. This last game, he had 14 carries for 64 yards, and he had 6 receptions for 41 yards, and that earned him 13.5 points in our half-point PPR league that we're in. Looking pretty good lately as he's starting to get featured in the offense a little more. Singletary and Cook are making for a very nice tandem so far with the last few weeks, and Cook is showing a bit more prowess in the passing game, so I think that makes him a viable option. So I'm definitely starting to give him more looks on the fantasy teams. So I definitely think he's a good move you can make this week. You know, getting a running back that has this much potential late in the season, I think it could be something decent.
Yeah, I think it's a real good move. High octane offense, and we all know Singletary isn't a sure thing, you know, like you're saying. So Cook there's always been room for Cook. People have been talking about him for a while
Since
now.
he was drafted, yeah.
Yeah, so. And they have a nice little schedule. I mean, Jets, Miami, Chicago, Cincinnati.
Yeah, Miami did beat them already this season, so I mean, I don't know if that'll be an easy game, but
it doesn't matter about winning. I mean, it matters for him, you know, getting this running.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I thought you meant like
in fantasy, we
football.
don't give a shit about who wins in the
True.
fantasy world. But
Very
yeah,
true.
he's got a good schedule, and like him, this running back also has a really good schedule to finish the year. I have Zonovan Knight as my first guy off the board. 38% rostered. I mean, heavily grabbed. I saw you grabbed him, Zach, in a couple leagues we're in together. But
yeah,
taking over as the Jets running back, undrafted, and his past 2 games over 100 yards each from scrimmage. He's just...
Wow.
You know, going out there trying to prove himself every day to keep a spot in this roster, and he looks really good.
Yeah.
And for the fantasy playoffs, he has a good schedule. So next week he does have Buffalo, but that's a banged up defense. So there might be some holes there. And then for fantasy playoffs, which for most people start in week 15, and they go through 17, he's got week 15 Detroit, week 16 Jacksonville, week 17 Seattle. So I think he could finish really strong and be a flex play that could help win your league.
Yeah, that looks really good. For the fantasy playoffs, yeah, that's a good move. I think I picked him up in a league, and then I had Deanna pick him up in another, and he's looking pretty damn good. That's for sure. And you know, finding guys like that, you know, is the key to winning championships sometimes. So
yeah, man, and he just looks like a workhorse type running back, you know?
Yeah.
He's going to fight for every yard. He's not just going to run out of bounds.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Everybody likes to see that when you're watching a game, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, who's your number 2?
I got Evan Ingram. He's tight end, Jacksonville, 35% rostered. He had 5 receptions for 30 yards and a touchdown. Good for 11.5 points in a half-point PPR league. You know, for someone like me who, you know, was a Kyle Pitts owner, I'm always looking for tight ends. So this, you know, scraping the bottom of the barrel here for Evan Ingram might be something. He scored a touchdown, so you know, I'm looking at that like touchdowns. Tight ends can score those.
Yeah, bad year.
So yeah, I'm kind of going to be scrambling here to try and get my hands on Evan Ingram so that I can lose again next week Ingram looks like a pretty decent tight end option. I know that those are, unless you have one of like the top 3 ones this year, top 2 maybe even this year, it's pretty rough position. So Evan Ingram might be a good choice for most of you people that are struggling with tight ends.
I mean, first off, I think he's a great play next week against the worst defense in the league, Tennessee. So he could definitely get a touchdown again. I mean, yeah, like you said, there's a lot of tight ends who have struggled or are out for the year, and this is a good enough one to grab. I mean, it has been a while, I guess, but it's been like 3 years since he was dominant, or 4 years, but maybe he could do something to finish out the year. He probably won't do great against Dallas week 15, but then week 16 he's got the Jets. They're still decent defense, but at least next week you're fighting for a playoff spot. You need a tight end. Tennessee, man, that's appetizing.
Yeah, I think so too. So definitely a good one for next week. What do you got, Jake?
DJ Shark, 18.9% rostered. He's been out. He was out for a bit, and now he's performing well. Since his last good week was week 1, but this week 5 receptions for 98 yards, 19.6 fantasy points, and that half-point PPR. Yeah, I really like him the rest of the way because we've talked about last week, like Jared Goff. Detroit has just such a good schedule to end the year. So next week, Minnesota, and then fantasy playoffs, week 15 Jets, week 16 Carolina, week 17 Chicago. I mean,
yeah, that'll be.
You gotta like that. If you need a wideout, need some depth, I think he's a great grab and pretty low rostered.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I like him because he complements Amon-Ra pretty well, where Amon-Ra kind of is like, can kind of do it all, good route runner and gets in the middle of the field, can make contested catches and all this. And then DJ Chark's kind of like a big body, speedy guy. So, I mean, I think that they complement each other pretty well. And yeah, Chark looks like he's starting to come into his own here, after this is like his second week back from an injury. So, and he had a really 5 receptions for 98 yards, not too shabby. So, yeah, definitely a good wide receiver move, I think.
Oh, yeah, we're in agreement.
Yeah, and then here we go into some kicker talk, everybody.
I didn't know we both had kickers.
Yeah, we both got kickers this week on our 4x4, but gonna go with Greg Zuerlein here, 7.9% rostered. He for the Jets, he's the Jets kicker. I know a lot of people probably don't know that because when is a Jets kicker? When has a Jets kicker ever been really relevant at all? So, but anyways. He did go 5 for 5 on his field goals, and he did hit his 1 extra point. So 1 for 1. He, was 100% on everything on that game. Mm-hmm. And one of the field goals was a 60-yarder, good for like the Jets franchise record for longest field goal, 60 yards. That's pretty awesome. And he scored 19 fantasy points and is now up to the number 6 kicker, like you heard Jake say.
Yeah, ruined your little moment. Sorry.
Number 6 kicker. That's exactly what I thought when I saw that too.
I was looking him up when you were. I was like, "What is he talking about?" Greg Zuerlein, and I looked him up, and I'm like, "Jesus Christ!"
He had a great week. He was like the Tyler Bass this week. Tyler Bass from a couple weeks ago scored like 24 points. Okay. Zuerlein scored a lot to bring him up into the top 10 this week. So. Yeah, if you're hurting for kicker, if you haven't checked your kicker since you drafted him, and he's like, oh, I got the 17th ranked kicker. Go pick up your Zuerlein, upgrade your position.
All right. Well, I raise you a kicker. I have Robbie Gould, former Bear. He had 1 less fantasy point than good old Greg, but 18 fantasy points against Miami, and I really like Robbie Gould because. They lost their quarterback. I think they're going to have a little bit of a harder time scoring touchdowns. I mean, they're a great team, obviously, great talent, but they'll be using them a lot more like you saw in this game.
You don't believe in Brock Purdy, dude?
I think he's serviceable, but it's not definitely a downgrade. And
Brock's got it on lock, dude.
I think Robbie is going to be used a lot more to finish out the year. So if you are struggling at kicker, like Zach said, I think both of these guys are great to add. Yeah,
definitely either one of them, which if both of them are available, I might go with Robbie Gould just because I think...
I thought you were going to be like, grab them both.
No, Jesus. But
back it up.
Yeah, grab them both. Stop somebody else from getting a kicker. No, but I might go with Gold just because I feel like that offense can maybe move the ball a little bit more. So maybe he'll score more field goals. But I think both of them, if one or the other is available, you can't really go wrong with these two guys right now. I think they're both in the top 10. So if you're upgrading your position, just pick whichever one you personally like more. Both of these guys are probably going to be good for the rest of the year here.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I got another Detroit wide receiver, Jake. I got the rookie, Jameson Williams. He's 30% rostered. I think a lot of people are starting to pick him up with anticipation of him, finally getting back on the field, at least last week. He didn't line up with the offense at all out there, but he did play gunner on the punt return team, Jake. So interesting.
Well, hey.
Yeah, he did.
Grab.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you're looking to shore up your defense special teams, no, I'm just kidding. But no, they're going to start easing him into the offense and start using him here over the next couple weeks. So whether he starts, next week, I think if you are able to stash a guy for a couple weeks, this guy could be someone that pays you dividends like in your fantasy playoffs. Because I think once he gets on the field and gets going with the offense and everything at practices and then into games, this guy can be a game-breaking talent. So I definitely why not, if you can, why not stash him and just, reap the benefits later.
Yeah, I think that's why he's already 30% rostered, even though he hasn't scored over a point, right?
Yeah, no, it's definitely why people are starting to pick him up, because he is back with the team. He's not injured anymore. So, whether it's next week or the week after, he's gonna eventually be out there running routes. So,
yeah. So I guess he's ran a route. He was targeted once, right? He had one target.
Oh, was he target? Okay, so they did start getting him out there, but he was only out there probably for a couple snaps. Yeah. So yeah, definitely if you're able to stash.
Mm-hmm. Probably if you're a top seed, you've sealed your playoff spot. You can afford to stash him.
Yeah, if you're one of the guys that picked up Deshaun Watson, you can drop Watson for Williams maybe now.
Hey,
I don't know.
Deshaun's shaking off the rust, dude.
Yeah, he'll be fine probably. Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
We'll see. Who you got, Jake?
Well, I think he's going to be fine because I have his wide receiver 2 is my fourth guy off the board. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 44% rostered. Yes, man of the people. Unlike Watson. Watson
the peoples.
Yeah. But he's also their kick returner now, which, you could play this guy as your flex. He'll get you wide receiver points, and, if he scores, he'll get yards with the kick return, and he scored a touchdown this week. Not that that's guaranteed, but still, that's extra yards to go towards your fantasy. I
don't think you get the yards with kick returns, do you? No, I think you just get the touchdown if he scores one. You don't get the kick. You don't get the kick return yards. I'm 95% sure on that.
But they're yards he scored. That's weird. All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those yards don't count. I'd have to double check that though, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Yeah, it might be on your depending on league settings, but all right. Yeah. Well, he's probably not likely to get many more of those touchdowns, but I still like him as a wide receiver 2. Going forward with Cleveland having Deshaun Watson back, I think he's going to shake off the rust, and they're going to use both wideouts more moving forward. So
yeah, and it looked like he had nice little, for as poor of a passing performance as they had, it looked like whatever chemistry was to be had out there, it looks like he had a little bit with Deshaun. So, that's something to be said for that, I guess,
Yeah, no, and I like, I actually have a couple of tougher defenses, but that's why I have him as my number 4. He's an option. He's a number 2 wideout. It's not every day that you can get those off the waiver wire, less than 50% rostered.
Yeah.
And the reason he was because they were putting Jacoby Brissett out there. So
yeah,
I think he should have increased value going forward.
I would agree.
Maybe not a league winner, but serviceable backup flex option.
Yeah. There you go.
If that didn't sell you on it, I don't know what will. Yeah.
There you go, everybody. Donovan Peoples-Jones wrapping up the 4x4.
Yeah. It's getting the surprises of the week.
Yep.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
All right, I'll start it off with my surprise, Justin Fields. This last game, running a bit less, throwing the ball a little more. Definitely making some improvements passing. Jake and I were watching the game together, so he can definitely, I think, agree with me that it was cool to see him definitely passing more.
And he was playing really well until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it seems to be the Bears thing since whenever Fields started breaking out, it seems like they do great. They're a 3-quarter team. You know what I mean?
Well,
they struggle in the fourth quarter.
Well, his throws are on him in the fourth.
Yeah, so
he's trying to force throws in crunch time. Well, the first 3 quarters, he was more loose, viewing the field better, breaking it up more. And I think
it looked like he was purposely trying not to run in the fourth quarter, which I don't know if that was the coaching staff telling him not to run at all. I just felt like he looked a little more uncomfortable in the fourth quarter. But the only thing I think the Bears and Fields needs to get better at is doing better in the fourth quarter. I'm okay with the interceptions this year, but talking about those 2 interceptions, one of them wasn't 100% his fault. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on as a young quarterback. The one was supposed to be a comeback route from Equanimeous, and it was just awful. And Fields throws it like a comeback route, and then just St. Brown was just lazily coming back to the ball, and it was easy for Alexander to just jump that route. There was hardly any effort from St. Brown at all to attack that ball, which is usually what you get from your stud receivers. They, good receivers, top level ones, they will attack every route. They wouldn't just. It was like St. Brown didn't think that ball was coming to him. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's all Fields, but he definitely needs to be able to make some tight window throws to be a top quarterback. Next year, when they get some more talent, those mistakes need to stop if he's truly going to be a franchise quarterback. I think he's well on his way to that. It's only year 2 on a crap-ass offensive team this year, except for a couple guys having standout performances here and there. But for the most part, it's kind of Fields making magic happen most of the time.
Well, he's got to use Claypool more. Claypool has great hands. But
yeah, so
yesterday when he was
thought it was cool to see Fields finally throw for 250 yards. So yeah, well on his way and developing.
Yeah, and then 2 interceptions.
Yeah. Yep.
But no, he looked great. I thought we were going to win that until those 2 throws that blew it. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
He's the only X factor. That's a fact. If the only chance to win is if he takes over, and is successful every play of the game. He can't mess up because his team's not going to help him save him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But much needed improvement this year so far.
Yeah, so it definitely leaves me happy, excited for next year. But
yeah.
Bears fans have been saying that a lot of years.
Well, I hope he just finishes the season strong and tightens up, getting rid of those interceptions. And
yeah.
Anyway, my surprise of the week, Cam Akers, everybody.
Oh, boy.
Finally doing something, man. 17 carries for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. You love to see it. They're playing a backup QB now. I think that's his most carries. Oh my God. That's his most carries on the year. So I think you can see that the rest of the way. They know they're not making playoffs. They want to test out this first-round draft pick from a couple years ago after he's back from this knee injury. They want to see what he can do to see if they're going to keep him on the team.
Yeah.
And they might as well hand him the fucking ball. Pardon my French, but...
Settle down just a little bit.
Only reason he's not on my grabs is because he is over 50% rostered, but it's only 53. Mm-hmm. But I would grab this guy if he was still available. He's got huge second half upside, or not even second half, just finishing upside.
Yeah, I agree. And it definitely is a surprise. I'm not the biggest Cam Akers guy. I've never really been a Cam Akers fan. I feel like they was always they were all, like, when he was on the Rams, they were always trying to force him into, like, when they had a better running back in Henderson, I always thought. But, it's good to see him have a good week, and he's definitely worth a pickup if he's available after a performance like that.
For sure. All right, man. Let's break into it. Fantasy injuries.
Which one?
My leg! My leg! There it is.
There it is.
All right, this is going to be really hard to get through because we didn't... Yes, all right, we're just going to go for it. I'm just going to try to go over... There's so many injuries on every team. Gosh, football is so bad.
Well,
but
the main one here, Lamar Jackson, knee week to week, so that kind of sucks. So, Tyler Huntley's the backup, so that's a rough one there.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts out for the year.
Yeah,
big
Kyle
one right
Pitts.
there.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins won't be activated from IR in advance of Sunday's game, so people were hoping maybe he'll be back, but that's not happening.
Hayden Hurst, calf injury, doubtful for next week. So, doubtful with a calf injury, Hayden Hurst, people looking for tight ends. So, and then Joe Mixon missed this week's game for Cincinnati. So we got to see.
Yeah, man, I needed him back. God damn.
Yeah, we got to see what's going on with him because Samaje Perine, though, is, does good whenever Joe Mixon doesn't play.
Mm-hmm.
So, David Njoku didn't play on Sunday.
Yep. A great one.
So yeah, I'm kind of just looking through here trying to find like big ones to talk about.
Well, the foot of the San Fran quarterback.
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo. I was going to get there.
Jimmy's out for the year. That's probably the second biggest one. I mean, he wasn't even that serviceable in fantasy, but still a starting quarterback that you might have been your bench QB.
Yeah,
in a deep league.
Kadarius Toney missed the game for Kansas City on Sunday.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is going to go an MRI on his left foot on Monday, but the quarterback is trending in the right direction. So something to keep an eye on. I mean, he was picking it up lately, and yeah, it's a little worrisome if you're getting an MRI. It's serious enough for that. So.
Mm-hmm.
Keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everybody.
Josh Jacobs was limited participant on Monday's estimated practice, so today.
Okay.
That's a major one to keep track of going into fantasy playoffs. I mean, that's your number 1 or number 2 running back. So,
Nick
Darren
Bosa.
Waller. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Nick Bosa dealing with a hamstring irritation. Okay. So just be watching that for Tampa Bay's or San Francisco's defense if you're planning on starting them.
Mm-hmm. Darren Waller eligible to return week 14.
The Walrus.
But Josh McDaniels suggested the tight end might not be cleared by then. So if you were stashing them for fantasy playoffs, you might need to be looking elsewhere for a tight end at that point. Don't bank on that.
Okay. And then we got Treylon Burks. They're just working through the concussion protocol. Maybe he'll start. He's questionable for next week. So.
Okay.
And that will be your injuries, everybody.
Yeah, we got them.
we got them. So yeah,
we'll clean that up. We'll clean it up next week.
Yeah, we'll have it. Yeah. We'll have that one cleaned up.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for listening. That'll do it for fantasy football week 14. Hope we gave you some good guys to go pick up. Definitely go pick up those kickers. At the very least, we helped you with your kicker this week. So I feel pretty good about that, Jake. I don't know about you. But yes, it was our pleasure. And, leave us all your comments, questions, or anything about your lineups and trades that you might be making. Questions, leave those in the comments for us and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. hit that notification bell so you get notified when our new episodes drop. There's going to be a lot of them dropping this week, so be on the lookout for those. And go follow us on our social media. We got Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search Garden of Sports. You should be able to find us on those social media platforms. Go give us a follow, fun stuff. And we'll catch you back here next week with another fantasy football episode. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.